a gross error that's opened them up to the possibility of legal action because they have denied. Now, I will say conclusively, just a few weeks ago, I was chased down the street in the black of the night by two men wearing hooded hats and with guns, and found out that they had badges, and it was a violation of my rights, terroristic, threatening, and all of that. And we don't know if they would have murdered me if they had caught up with me, because they did not. And when they were reported to the police and captured or caught and questioned and what have you, the Attorney General's office refused to prosecute them and told me that they could not and would not be prosecuted because what they did not rise to the level of a crime. And yet this same Attorney General's office rushes to bar me from accessing my citizen rights. And if we think this is about Derrick Johnson, then we are sorely mistaken. This is about a system and a state which continues to keep us in a state of Jim Crow. It's about freedom, it's about liberty, and it's about the right to full citizenship that Dr. King marched for and that Jesus resurrected himself for. So I am fit for the battle. And tomorrow again, 12 o'clock noon, I will get more into the legal aspect of it, and then we will decide what we're going to do. Our voters, Mr. Anthony Johnson tried to give them some marching orders on the internet, but no one is going to just step in and say, all of you who are going to vote for Derrick, come over here and vote for Joe. What should happen is the other candidates, whom I respect, all of them, should sit down with me, and like any other situation like this, you discuss things and you decide, and then we will decide who we can support based on what is best, if we support. But right now, we're still in it.
Right.
This was an opinion.
Okay.
We got until July the 10th to refile. We're still in it, and the lawsuit courts are wide open. So we have some things that we can do and some things that we will do. So thank you for caring enough to want my side, at least, of the story to be told. But I say to everybody under the sound of my voice tonight that this is the battle, the Jim Crow battle that we're being commanded to fight today. That battle against eternal incarceration. When are we really free, and when is redemption made real? Redemption must be real for your children and grandchildren if we're ever to stop the murders and turn this situation around.
Thank you, Pastor.
Pastor D, this speaks so clearly to me of spiritual warfare.
Yes.
I remember my pastors, Pastor Catherine and Pastor Michael, were the first clergy that ever explained that to me.
Yes.
And about the weapons of our warfare. And as I'm listening to you, I'm like, this is it.
Yes.
This is not that this is the first time I've seen it or you know, but it's so clear. It's so clear.
Yes.
And without that understanding, without that ability to identify what it is, it's like, why is this happening? It's so spiritual.
When I was in Washington last week, Mike, I sat with President Obama's advisor on reentry, and he informed me that in every department of government, there is a member of the Faith, President's Office of Faith. In other words, he has a believer in the room in every branch of government. See, they don't tell us this on the news cycle.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
He recognizes this is spiritual warfare.
Well, that's what I'm talking about when I ask about, you know, the spirit in which people are trying to operate.
Yes.
There's only one God.
Yes.
And he has a straight way of doing things.
Yes.
But listen, Pastor, I want to thank you for coming.
I love you. Thank you for my picture. My wife and I tell everybody that comes into our house, and not a lot of people come into our house, but the ones that do, they get a tour of the picture, and we tell them what everything means. And of course, my wife knows better than I, and let me thank God for her. And you pray for her, because I don't think people realize that your family goes through what you go through. It is a tremendous fight, and I understand that it's a serious fight. However, I understand that the battle is not mine, it's the Lord's, and that it's already been won. Exactly. Redemption is real, redemption is right, and the time is now for us to make it available to every citizen. You can do that by joining me again tomorrow at 12 o'clock downtown Wilmington, in front of the governor's office there, where we will make our position very clear to our governor. And let me say, I believe our governor to be a good man. I believe our governor to be a God-fearing man, and I believe that he will certify this opinion to the Delaware Supreme Court.
Thank you, Pastor D. We're
Before
going to
we
get
close,
ready.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Before
okay.
we wrap, I just want to once again, Pastor D spoke of the evidence. This is the evidence of the people that have come out to support him.
History.
History in all
Yeah.
these events. You're officially
Yeah.
filing for the mayoral
Yeah,
candidate.
over 1,000 people
Exactly.
to show up just for the man to file.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
the march, all the people that came out
2,000
to
people
support
in
you.
Rodney Square.
Right.
So we're going to have a voter registration drive. We have over 4,000 people. So we're going to continue to be relevant in this entire situation. So again, thank you, and God bless you. That's my beautiful wife next to me there.
We appreciate you coming on.
All right,
Pastor
man.
Dave.
Thank you, Pastor.
And
Thank
at
you,
home,
sis.
Please stay tuned. We'll be back after a very short break with more from In the Upper Room.